Alright, this is Walnut Grove, round 12 for the Mid East Harescramble series. I've never done a Mid East race. This is my first one, so I figured I'd jump in and see how I could do an Event C race. I've got a friend who races the guy next to me named Andrew, and he does pretty well. This is the takeoff. I've gotten okay at doing pole shots, and Motard Steve was there checking out the race, and he got some side footage of me, which is cool to see another view of my pole shot. The thing it made me realize is that I need to start walking the track at least the starts beforehand, because I had no clue where to go, and that's part of the reason why I slowed down right here. I was going into this section and didn't know where to go. It wasn't very clear. There were markings, but I'm not driving into that mud hole, so whatever. And then also right here, the guy was faster than me, and he'd been faster the whole time, or was going to be faster the whole time. But I kind of needed a guide. I didn't know where to go because I hadn't looked at the track. It looks like this whole place was going to be a mud fest is what this looked like. And then really the only sections that were muddy were right here, and then there's one more in the woods. I will say that I'm not the best at doing flat track style turns, because this was usually very dusty, and if you watch some of the old videos from people like Gyro Ron and a couple of the other guys who make videos, that this place is very dusty if it's not wet. And it had rained the night before and it was still dusty. A little bit in the field sections at least. This dude on the Kawasaki right here, me and him would go back and forth for the entirety of the race, but I ended up finishing higher up than he did, which I don't know what happened, but he was putting on a good show. We were about the same speed. I don't know if I just outlasted him or not. You can hear me expressing my displeasure with the amount of flat tracking we had to do through this whole course. It got faster as the day went on because I just I'm just not very good at it, and so what I realized is that I need to be more confident in the way I ride. I know how to maintain this stuff and manage it. I just back off too much, and then I'll let people get by me. So aggression and that all needs to be upped a little bit, but I guess that comes with getting used to racing. These sections were weird. I didn't really like these jumps, even though if you watch the pro guys, not these jumps, but there were a couple of those rollers back in the back that were a little closer together, and you could double into each other and save some time. The thing I really liked about this place was some of the wood sections. All the wood sections were really tight, and they ran four-wheelers on this course, but after I found a map of the course, and they showed the four-wheeler course is about 2/3 of what the bike course was, which I guess what they did was they cut out all of this single-track stuff, which it looked like it hadn't been run, so it wasn't beat up at all. And until we ran 6 laps, and it was a 6.5-mile course. And it was pretty good the whole time. It never really deteriorated real bad except for a couple wet spots, and then, like every course, you start getting down through the top level of soil and you end up in the roots. This stuff, the piney stuff, was really nice. There were a couple good elevation change sections, like this was a good one. It had a kind of flat turn that bottlenecked, but everything was like a turn. You'd slide down and then come up the other side of it. And it never really got too congested. There were a couple times where there'd be a couple people stuck, but it never really turned into a problem. It was really good, tighter single-track trails. I really like this. This is the kind of riding I do when I'm riding for fun, so this stuff was just really nice to actually be able to maneuver through, and I don't know, it was just comfortable, I guess. And I gotta say, out of all the tracks I've ever ridden, which haven't really been that many, but I've been to the entire series of NCHSA races, and for being my first Mid-East, this has to be the best track I've ever been on. It had a good mix of everything. It had some higher, not elevation change, but some higher up stuff that was dry and real loamy. It had creek crossings like this, and some other good downhill section elevation change things, and it was pretty close for most of the race. Like NCHSA, it seems like everybody will spread out a little bit, and then it turns into your solo riding, which if I don't have a goal and there's nobody in front of me to race against, then it turns into I just ride by myself, and I'm not good at pushing myself by myself. This was one of those downhill sections. This is the only time it really got bad, and it was because this was just after the start. This is still round 1, or lap 1, and everybody was kind of just, I don't know what they were doing right there. And this creek never really got bad. This line got a little rooty. The GoPro never really gets cleaned off. Like, it doesn't stay this fuzzy. It clears up a little bit with me riding. I guess the mud kind of gets blown off a little bit. So you'll be able to see it's just a little fuzzy. It just happens with the mud, and I didn't think I didn't clean it well enough when I reached up to clean it. This is a mixed traffic thing. This is the morning race, so Vet C is a morning race in Mid East, where it's a afternoon thing in NCHSA.
Yo, yo, yo!
I don't usually do that as far as the like yelling thing. It wasn't because I was trying to pass him, it was because I was making sure he didn't come over onto me because that trail was coming down. And here's Kawasaki dude again. I don't know what his name was. He rode really well. It was fun to ride behind him. I was right on him for whenever I saw him. I was right up on him. This is more of that Pine Forest stuff that was like not super tight single track, but it was single track enough that it was you had to think about what you were doing. The way this track was laid out, you would run through a section and then it would open up and you would come up and it'd be this high-speed thing through the woods that was, you know, four-wheeler wide, and then it would just bottleneck back down and you back in the woods. And it did that the whole course, so it was a good mix where you'd have some really high-speed stuff. And by really high speed, I mean top speed on this course was, my top speed on this course was 67 miles an hour. That's insanity in a dirt bike race. And then guys go faster in sand and stuff, but for sustained amounts of time, it was still pretty aggressive trying to get through there. This section was very strange. It was like almost like a beach, but it was loamy, so it had some topsoil-ish soil in it.
Yo!
There's me, another one, trying to make sure the guy didn't come over on top of me. Trying to get past all this stuff. It was fast. This was a good section. It was long, ran the whole length of the backside of the trail, and then it doubled back on itself eventually when you come back in for scoring. But it kind of deteriorated eventually like sand does and turned into these deep offset whoops. So it was, I don't know how long this section was, maybe, no, not a mile, maybe 3/4 of a mile or half a mile of just this high-speed whoopy sand. And by the end of the race, if you've ever ridden sand whoops, you understand how tiring they can be. And so that was hard by the end of it, and I was really dragging. Make a good move over here and finally get a better line and actually get around a couple people. We got 1, 2, 3, I think, here. I don't know who's in my class or not. I just know the only person I know who was in my class was Kawasaki Bro and Andrew, the guy who had been next to me. I didn't see him the whole race, even though he finished ahead of me. This was the thing I realized is that if you get confident in downhill stuff, you can really make some time up on people. So I was running a lot of the stuff where I would go through a downhill section and not hit my brakes and just, you know, coast down it or bonsai down it. And it ended up really beneficial in my favor for a lot of the time. I could make time up. Like I was saying, this is one of those mud sections, and this really deteriorated by the end of the race. And I'm going to jump to a clip, and you'll see this in a second. I did clean the GoPro off. So this guy in front of me, another, I don't know if he's on KTM or something. I don't know who he was. He'd been pushing me for a little while, and you can see how bad this mud hole got. So he finally gets past me, and he starts pushing ahead. And he does this thing. This is going to be bad. Like, real bad. And you think, oh no, he's sideways. That's what I thought.
Oh!
Bang. I thought I broke his leg. And I made sure he's alright.
Are you okay? I know I clobbered you. I'm sorry, man.
Let me jump back into where I was on the other lap. So through that section, you come through another elevation change, and there's these little gullies. And this section, if you can't tell from the video because GoPro flattens everything out, that was a seriously steep, like almost not walk-upable hill. It was going to be gnarly coming down it, and by the end of it, it had so many braking bumps in it that it was better just to let go and roll. So I never accelerated down it, but I was stopped braking down it by the end of it. And I never got to a point where I was passing people there, but it was still really good to be able to It was a good feeling to be able to make it down it knowing everybody else was slamming on the brakes. A little uphill immediately afterwards. If it was a little more slick, it might have been bad. I run that Shinko 505 rear tire, and some people complain about them and stuff like this. I don't have any complaints. So, that was this... That dirt right there is like sand almost, like this loamy stuff. And it was... I think that guy's in my class, but I'm not sure. So that was this loamy stuff, and it was just weird because it would pack up like it was going to make a berm, and then you'd hit it and it would explode. But after that time, I didn't drop my bike again doing that. This is the back straight section of the course. This is where you really get on it, and by the end of the race, so we did 6 laps. 4th lap, I lost my shifter. So if I saw it falling off, so I grabbed it and put my bike in 3rd. I ran the last 2 laps in 3rd. And then running this section, just tapped out in 3rd gear as hard as you can. You can see how fast we really get on it. This is 1st lap, but I wasn't comfortable here. We got faster after you got comfortable doing everything. And you got used to where you knew you could really put on the speed. And right here, up to this point, just turned into just chop. It was terrible. This is about coming up in the scoring. I ran like 4th for the entire race, except for 2 laps where I ran 2nd. I lost my shifter at the 4th lap and ran the whole rest of the race in 2nd, and actually ran out of gas right here. And had to push my bike out of gas, push my bike to scoring to finish, and finished 4th overall. It's not too bad on my first Vet C race for Mid East. I'm going to pursue the whole next season, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Peace.